course, if we are to approach my home this way, we must be prepared to push my uncle's hobby across fallen branches through the spinneys. It is almost useless in the rough ground of the woods, where I and the Abbé de Lalande, my beloved bébé, shot so many hundreds of larks and sparrows that I bruised my little shoulder blue. Careful, Olivier dear. Do be careful. We can ignore nose bleeding for the time being, although to be realistic, the blood can be anticipated soon enough. Spectacular spurts, splendid gushes, my body being always too thin-walled a container for the passions coursing through its veins. But as we are making up our adventure, let us assume there is no blood, no compresses, no leeches, no wild gallops to drag the doctor from his breakfast. And so we readers can leave the silky, treacherous Seine and cross the rough woodlands and enter the path between the linden trees. And I, Olivier Jean-Baptiste de Clarel de Barfleur de Garmont, a noble of myopia, am free to speed like Mercury while pointing out the blurry vegetable garden on the left, the smudgy watercolor of orchard on the right. Here is the ordure of the village road across which I can go sailing, skidding, blind as a bat, through the open gates of the Château de Barfleur. Hello, Jacques. Hello, Gustave. Odile. I am home. On the right, just inside, is Papa's courthouse, where he conducts the marriages of young peasants, thus saving them military service and early death in Napoleon's army. It does not need to be said that we are not for Bonaparte, and my papa leaves the intrigues for others. We live a quiet life, he says. In Normandy, in exile, he also says. My mother says the same thing, but more bitterly. Only in our architecture might you glimpse signs of the powerful familial trauma. We live a quiet life, but our courtyard resembles a battlefield, its ancient austerity insulted by a sea of trenches, fortifications, red mud, white sand, grey flagstones, and 54 forsythias with their roots bound up in balls of hessian. In order that the courtyard should reach its proper glory, the Austrian architect has been installed in the blue room, with his drawing boards and pencils. You may glimpse this uppity creature as we pass. I have omitted mention of the most serious defect of my uncle's vehicle, the lack of steering. There are more faults besides, but who could really care? The two-wheeled Célérifère was one of those dazzling machines that are initially mocked for their impracticality until, all in a great rush, like an Italian footman falling down a staircase, they arrive in front of us, unavoidably real and extraordinarily useful. The years before 1805, when I was first delivered to my mother's breast, constituted an age of inventions, of great beauty and great terror. And I was very soon aware of all of this, without knowing exactly what the beauty or the terror were. What I understood was drawn solely from what we call the symbolic aggregate, that is, the confluence of the secrets, the disturbing flavor of my mother's milk, my own breathing, the truly horrible and unrelenting lowing of the condemned cattle, which, particularly on winter afternoons, at that hour when the servants have once more failed to light the lanterns, distressed me beyond belief. But hundreds of words have been spent, and it is surely time to enter that chateau, rolling quietly on our two wheels between two tall blue doors, where, having turned sharply right, we shall be catapulted along the entire length of the long, high gallery, traveling so fast that we will be shrieking and will have just sufficient time to notice on the left the conceited architect and his slender fair